Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 13th of January, 2014. This is episode 111, All Nighter. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. I couldn't sleep last night until about 9 this morning. So I am running on just a nap right now. So if it's a little bit that is what it is. Also, my children are playing in the background, so I'll probably be highly distracted because they're being kind of noisy. This week was pretty good. I thought I was going to have 4 days off of work, which I was not excited about. And then that's what my schedule came up as when I looked online, because we can check our schedules online. But there's also a posted copy in store, and that's like the official one. So I went in and I was written in a day, and I was like, okay, 4 days working, I can handle that. I prefer 5, but 4 days is fine. And then Saturday came, and 5:15, one of the customer service representatives called me and said, hey, so can you work tonight? And I was like, sure, I can work normal time. And he was like, actually, so it was 5:15. I normally start at 7. And he was like, well, if you could be here at 6, that would be awesome. I had been just starting to get ready to make dinner because I didn't have to work that night, so I didn't need to worry about it. I was like, oh, okay, sure, that's fine. I went in at 6. I worked my normal length of shift, just got off an hour earlier, which is kind of nice. But yeah, that kind of I had a lot of plans for that evening that I didn't get to, crafty plans. So that was kind of a bummer for crafting. And I'm rambling a lot. Sorry. I will tell you more about my week as I'm talking about things, so that it can be less ramble and more stuff. So Steampunk Knit Along is going on. You guys, I'm so sorry. I haven't been on Ravelry at all in I don't even know how long. I don't know. I was on this morning for a moment on my tablet to pull up something, but like actually been on and looked at anything, I don't think I've been on since last week, and I don't think that last week when I recorded I had been on in a few days. So I really, really apologize for that. Life was just life. It wasn't particularly hectic. I was just busy. I was never at my computer. So I plan on catching up on that this week. It's on my list of things to do. So hopefully I'll catch up. I saw that someone started a thread for last week's episode. I'm sorry I didn't do that myself. Show notes for last week will be up when this show goes up. So if you needed any information on that, that will be there. I am really, really sorry. I don't know. Everything's been going. And on my days off, I wasn't even home. The 2 days off that I had that I took, I was not even home. So yeah, it was a lot. Not bad, but just a lot. Anyway, Steampunk Knit Along is going on, and I have not started the thread. Failure. I will start it today. Before you even see this podcast, it will be up. And I have been working on my project for it. I am knitting my pattern, which is called A Cog in the Machine. This white stitch marker right here is where I was last week. So it's still pretty small. I have finished the first section, and I am 2 rows into the second section, which is why I have all these beautiful stitch markers. So this one right here is one of the star stitch markers from Isn't It Charming? And these star stitch markers were made for me by my best friend, Mary Lee. She made them for me because she loves me. The yarn that I'm using is Marigold Jen. This is the sock, and it is the colorway that she dyed, which is Copper Patina. So just so you know, right now she still has the kits up in her shop if you are interested in getting either the kit for a cog in the machine or mechanical bell with this yarn, and it also comes with stitch markers. So you get the pattern, stitch markers, and this yarn, enough to make whichever project you're making. And we are discussing, Lisa, Jen, and I, we are discussing whether she should keep them up in her shop or if she should take them down and have it as just a festival thing or what. So we're discussing. So right now you can still get it if you want it, in her shop, in her Etsy shop. But I'm not sure how long that will happen. I am working this on US size 4, which is 3.5 millimeter needles, and I promise it gets more interesting. Section 1 is just kind of a setup thing. It's just kind of a start thing, because I mean, it's a shawl that's worn like this, and how much fancy do you really need right here? Not so much. It gets much cooler later. Much more interesting, but it's also really nice because it's a nice, I find the beginnings of shawls to be fiddly because they're so small. So many there's so few stitches on the cable or whatever. So I don't actually mind when shawls start out basic, as long as they then transition into something more interesting, which this does. I have a finished object. The daisy hat that I was working on for my nephew is finished. It's got these cute cat ears that don't want to stand up on their own, but whatever, they'll be adorable on a small child, small infant, small human whose name I don't even know yet because he's not born. So look at how cute that is. It's so tiny. It would not fit me. From this angle, it looks like maybe, but clearly not for grown-ups. The pattern is Daisy by Plymouth Yarn Company. The yarn I used is Plymouth Oh My in the color 73. Worked on US size 9 needles, and I was correct. The yarn is wrapped around a foam core. I made the smallest size, and it only used 1 ball of yarn. There were 2 balls of yarn in the package. So I have to discuss with her if she would like me to make something else with the yarn or just send her the yarn back or what, but I think it's so cute. Or maybe if she doesn't want it back, I might just put it in my stash and wait for the next baby in my life to be born. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for my new nephew. I was talking to my sister-in-law yesterday, and my nephew has dropped. So if you've never had a baby before, when the baby is getting ready to be born, they do it on their own schedule. They turn, you hope. Sometimes babies don't turn, and that can be awful, and yeah, sometimes they don't turn. But he has turned, and he dropped, and my sister-in-law was like, so I managed to make it to 8 months, full 8 months pregnant. She's in her 9th month without any stretch marks, and then bam, he leaves his mark. And I was like, yeah, sometimes babies do that. That's how Gabriel was. I made it right to the end, and then he dropped, and I have a little like head-shaped shatter of stretch marks on my stomach. So yay, he's coming. I'm super excited. Of course, I want him to come in his own time when he's ready and to be healthy and all those good things, but I'm super excited. This also means that I need to work faster on things. So this is baby things making month because my nephew is arriving, and I don't know if I talked about this last week, but if I did, well, maybe you didn't see it. In addition to this adorable hat, which is now finished and will go immediately into the box of things to send, I have started a baby blanket. So this is what it looks like so far. And the pattern I'm using is Tiramisu Blanket by Alicia Paulson. I'm using I Love This Yarn Sport Weight, and I am holding it double. The reason I'm doing that is because if I were to use this yarn at a gauge with a needle that is appropriate for the gauge, it would have those long color blips, long-ish color blips, and I didn't really want that. Now the way that the yarn is working up, I'm holding it double. I'm using USJ 10, which is a 6mm needle. The colors last for maybe 2 stitches, and then they change. And also the fun thing about holding the yarn double is I am purposely holding it so that the colors don't line up for more than a stitch or so at any time. So it just gives it a lot of depth. The other thing that is brilliant about making this blanket with the yarn held double is that a lot of babies, a lot of new little infants, when they're very new, it's good to swaddle them, of course, because newborns are used to being in a pretty enclosed space, and then all of a sudden they're born and they're out in all this. So they're not forced to be like this, and it's kind of a shock. Well, also, it can be good to use a heavier blanket, weight-wise, not like, I'm not explaining this very well. It can be good to use a blanket that has actual weight to it instead of just like a cotton swaddling blanket, which is perfect if you have a summer baby and it's really hot, and it's even wonderful for winter babies to swaddle them. But you can buy like, I think 2 or 3 pound blankets that are just blankets, but they weigh a little bit extra. I think they come in 1, 2, and 3 weights, and you lay them on the baby, and it gives them just a little bit of that extra, that sense that they're being confined, which is what they are used to, so they like it. So this blanket is a little more dense, which will also be good because this baby is going to be born in winter/spring in Michigan, so it is cold there and snowy, and this is not a huge blanket. It will be hopefully square. It might be a little rectangular due to yarn, but it should be pretty square. It's 32 inches across the bottom right now, and then there is an edging, and I'm not exactly sure how much that will add, but it'll probably be about 3 feet, the blanket, when it's finished. So I am anticipating that it will be kind of a all-around good blanket, like an on the floor, the baby can lay on it blanket, so it's thick and cushy, or a car seat cover type blanket, or a tuck around the baby in the car seat type blanket. I really like to make larger blankets for babies, but I personally found that smaller ones were more functional for a newborn. And I can always make a bigger blanket for my nephew when he is bigger. And also, holding it double means that it's going to go way faster than if I were holding it one strand. My other plans for baby this month are, I would like to make another stuffed animal. I would like to make, I'm thinking I might make my owl pattern using the leftovers from that cowl that I made, the Buffalo Crossing modified. I think I might make an owl out of that. I don't know if I have enough of that yarn, but we'll see. I can always I can always change the pattern a little because I know how to do that to my own design and to other people's designs, but whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm so discombobulated today. Sorry, guys. I plan on making a baby sweater, and I also plan on making a baby cocoon. And the particular pattern that my sister-in-law sent is an adorable frog cocoon pattern, and it's crocheted, so it should work up super, super fast. I only have one other work in progress that I can show you, which is my spinning, so it's not even way exciting. I definitely put another layer on, maybe two since last week. I can't remember for sure, but I have been spinning, not every day like I wanted. Only 2 of my 6 resolutions that I was like, I want to do 15 and 15 every day. Only 2 of them did I manage to accomplish. I got close with several of them, but only 2 did I do every day. And those were knitting and crocheting and reading. Who is shocked? Nobody is shocked. But I do plan on making up that time, the time that I didn't do last week. And so I'll be spinning extra this week to make up for it. I do have other projects, which I will I'll show you the bags and talk about them just a little. First, this is what my my cog in the machine is held in. This is my kitchen counter crafter bag, which I love, and it is a single shot bag. And look at how cute. I'm never going to get over showing you that bag because I love it. And then up next is my project for Haley. And it is in my tetrahedron sock bag from Sewn by Lindsay on Etsy. And I love it. So this project is nearing completion. I am at about 75% finished. This project I take with me to work and work on it on break because I can walk around and work on it at the same time or sit and work on it. It is my before work knitting project, so the half hour approximately that I'm in the parking lot before I start work. And I also work at a grocery store. I'm a cashier, and I occasionally run breaks for the fuel center. So probably 2 or 3 times a week I run the break for the fuel center. So that is a whole 15 minutes where I may or may not actually talk to a customer because a lot of people use their credit cards to pay for gas. And the first time I ran the break, it was wretched because I didn't have any customers and I was sitting there for 15 minutes. And then the next time I ran the break, I was like, so how do you stand it? When the person came back, how do you stand just sitting out here for a while? And she said, well, you know, there's cleaning and stuff to do, but sometimes it gets really boring. You just get used to it. And then the next time I ran the break, the person who was working had a book. I was like, okay, so if this person is clearly reading here for their shift, I'm sure that they're working, but if they clearly have this book out, I'm going to bring my knitting. So now running Fuel Center is kind of one of my favorite things because it is about 15 minutes of rarely interrupted knitting time. It's nice. Get paid to knit at work on the clock. It's good. I like it. So that is how Haley's project has been mostly getting work done. I started another project, which is for Dancing Geek, James. He won the hand-knitted item from my Podiversary ever ago. He lives in the UK, so that drawing happened at the end of November, I believe. And James took a little while to get back to me. I don't know, a week or something. So it was right around December 1st-ish. When he got back to me, he lives in the UK, and I told him that I would definitely not be sending him anything in December because Christmas postage is kind of crazy, and I avoid the post office as much as possible. I like to have my packages done very, very early whenever I can. So I told him that I would probably not start until January. Well, now it's January, and my plate is a little bit clearer. I was like, what should I cast on that I can show on the podcast? And I was like, oh, I'll cast on this project for James. And then I started, and I was like, wait, did James and I discuss whether I was showing this on the podcast or whether it was a surprise? So I sent him a message, and he said, oh, either way is fine, but I love surprises. So I will be recording a little blurb that I won't show you until I have finished the project. So I do have that started, and it's in here. Very exciting, in my black project bag where you can't see anything. And then, of course, I'm still working on Joshua Squares, which I was hoping to get finished last week, and I probably could have gotten... I lost motivation when I got called into work because I had been intending to work on squares that night. Like, I had the yarn on my bed around me. Steve and I were getting ready for a movie marathon after dinner. And then I got called into work. So I have 4 squares to go, I think. 4 or 5. And I could have easily knocked out 2 or 3 during movie marathon night. So then I lost steam because I was like, well, I can't finish it now before Monday. And then I didn't finish it yesterday because I was not feeling very well. By not very well, I mean I had a migraine, and I don't even remember most of yesterday. I do remember going to work, and that was pretty awful, but what can you do? So I just, yeah, I'm working on a lot of things that I can't show you, but they should, I'm going to work on them very diligently. Those projects, especially the Josh and Haley ones, I'm going to work on those very diligently, so hopefully next week I have a lot of stuff to show you because I have been recording on things as I've been making them. I just haven't been showing you, obviously. I'm pretty sure I said all this last week. I also just recalled that I had more things to say about the tiramisu blanket, so let's go back to that, shall we? Because that's what I'm working on right now, so it's in my lap. I went to the movies on one of my days off, so that was one of my days off last week. I actually, it was a grown-up night. Dropped the kids off at Becca's house, which was super fun for them, and she had a blast with them. And then Steve and I went out to dinner. No, then we went out to the movies. We saw The Hobbit, and of course I needed something to work on while I was at The Hobbit, but none of my projects were in a really good place. So none of my knitting projects. I actually took several knitting projects with me because I was like, well, I don't know. It's been a while since I've knit in serious dark. So I took 3 projects with me, I think. I took Haley's project, I took James's project, and I took this baby blanket with me. And the baby blanket was the winner for what I was able to work on in the dark. But I'm going to show you that even this baby blanket was not 100% successful in the dark. Hold on, 2 more stitches and then I'm at the end of the row. Sometime while I was there, I totally missed this length of yarn. Super easy to fix. I'll just pull it into my work. I'll actually do that right now so I can show you how easy it is to fix. So here we are. Here's the work. Here's the yarn hanging out. I'm going to take my hook and weave it under some stitches in that same row. So successful. There's my hook under stitches. Just going to grab this and pull it in underneath. I saw it and I was, I don't know, several rows above, and I was like, oh man, should I rip back and fix that? And I was like, really? For that tiny length? And then, yeah, you can't even tell. Can't even tell it's there. So I decided I would just show you on the podcast how to pull that in. While I was there, I did quite a bit of this because the Battle of Five Armies, I believe that's what the subtitle is quite a long movie, as the Hobbit movies and the Lord of the Rings movies are. And also, I joined yarn in the dark. So I'm working from two separate balls, and this is where one ended, and this is where the other ended. And you can see there's two full rows in between those. So even though commercial yarn says it has specific yardage, not all yards are measured the same. This says 184 yards for this yarn. I'm not upset with it. I don't know if one was less than 184 or if one was much more than 184 or whatever. It's fine. I just thought I'd show you that. And I think you can see there's a small portion, right where I changed yarn, where the yarn was lining up. The colors were pooling a little too much. So I ended up cutting one of the skeins of yarn and I wound it into a center pull ball and then started pulling from the outside so that the yarns were going in opposite directions instead of lining up so much on the colors, because I tied it together in the dark, so I didn't know what I was doing. And I am getting close to the halfway because these two skeins are skeins 3 and 4 of 8. And when all 8 skeins are used up, that will be the determining size, unless I reach a square measurement before all 8 skeins are used up, but I don't think so. I think it will be a little bit rectangular. And then I am thinking I'm going to use, in this bin over my crochet hook, on the right, there are 2 skeins of a bluish color. It does not match the blue in here, but it's contrasty, I think, in a good way. It's very aqua. I think it'll look good. I'll test it and see if that works for the border, and if not, I'll figure something else out. I might just buy a coordinating brown or something, but I would rather use my stash yarn, which was actually given to me by my sister-in-law ever ago. If you've been watching for a long time, you might remember that blue baby blanket that I finished a couple Ravelinic games ago that I had originally started for a friend of hers. So yeah, that yarn is still in my stash and I would like to use it up, and I think it would be nice if I could use it for her baby, but if not, I'll just use it for some other baby in the future. This just in, because I'm not distractible enough. My sister just sent me a picture with something she taught herself how to make. She taught herself how to make convertible mittens. How cool is that? She does not use patterns, and she only crochets, which is not a bad thing. I'm not like, she only crochets, because I love crochet. But she crochets and she doesn't use patterns, and she taught herself how to make convertible mittens. How cool is that? High five. High five, Amanda. I'm proud of you. And they look awesome. Don't they look awesome? Yes. Everybody thinks they look awesome. I can hear it from here. I started a barn raising square, another one. This is using the Clover colors, Peyton's Croy. I don't remember which Peyton's Croy it is, but it's the Clover colors that I used to make the Christmas socks for Lorraine's husband. I have these two little bits left over from, I don't know, cutting yarn at some point. I think they're the leftovers of the two, I used parts of 3 skeins, so most of 2 skeins. So I think this is what I had left over from the skeins when I had finished the 2B portion of the sock, and then I went back and did heels with the 3rd skein, if I recall correctly. So I'll use up those little bits, and then I will pull from the other skein, or from the 3rd skein to finish off the square. So it doesn't look like much yet, but it will next week. I will have a finished square, hopefully 2. I also have new things to show you, and they are all brought to me by sort of a knitter, Josh. So this this pattern is called Static Zing, and it is by, nope, this way. Oh, my hand is going to stop it from doing what I want. It is by Megan Williams. It's her new pattern, her new sock pattern. And it's a really cool pattern. It's designed for self-striping yarns. You can use the same yarn, or you can use like the same colorway, or you can use 2 different colorways, or you can do whatever you want, basically. And it just plays with striping. It's very cool. And then on Josh's birthday, he sent me a pattern. This is Tailspin by Josh. And I will see if I can find, there we go. There's a good picture. This is a good snowy picture. Let's blow it up so you can't see all the instructions. There you go. So that's kind of what it looks like. Look at how messy my desk is in that reflection. So much stuff. It's because it's a dumping ground for myself and my children. And I didn't clean it today. I cleaned it 2 days ago. That's not nearly recent enough for it to be clean. So I have 2 fantastic new patterns from Josh. And not only that, there is more Christmas stuff. So again, a yarn and a fiber. He sent me a 2nd skein of white birch fiber arts. You might recall that the first one was, does this rainbow make my black look big? This one is I Eats Me Spinach. Got a little bit undone right here and I didn't fix it. But it's gorgeous, and it is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's got grays and greens and all these colors that I guess you could consider manly, but I consider my colors. Very, very neutral, very pretty. I love it. So that's gorgeous. And then the fiber is bits, the colorway is Bits of Color. It is Merino Testa Silk 80/20, and it's got a little fuzzy on it. It looks so happy and bright, and I have been lusting after it since Josh bought it, basically. I think before he bought it, even. And who is this from? This is from Three Waters Farm. Ooh, I've heard lots of things about Three Waters Farm, but I have not spun any Three Waters Farm. So that is exciting. Three Waters Farm. I think all of the fiber that I have from this Christmas box is really, really exciting. Okay, so those are my new things. I'm so like, that's the technical term. That's how I'm doing right now. Okay, what I am reading. I finished reading Rogue Warrior by Richard Marcinko. I actually really, really enjoyed it. So I was not enjoying it so much because the author heavily referred to himself in the 3rd person in the beginning, but it seemed to taper off as the book went on, or maybe I just got used to it. I don't know. I think it tapered off because I recall seeing it a few times, but not to the same extent.